Good morning everybody, I am dat1niceguy and I'm going to be showcasing Super Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo. Just want to give a big thank you to everybody here for joining in for this amazing cause. Alright, so I'm going to be starting in right around 4 seconds, so 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. Thanks for the good luck. So, Super Castlevania 4 is more or less a remake of Castlevania 1 for the NES. The story is pretty much the same. You play as Simon Belmont, he goes in, kicks butt, kills Dracula for now, castle crumbles, the end. So nothing special. But the biggest difference between this game and CV1 for the NES are mainly the controls. Yes, the graphics are a lot better, but as you can see right here, Simon now has full control over his whip. So he can use his whip in all 8 directions and move it to however he wants. So for the remainder of this run, you're going to want to use this cross pretty much for the entire time. The reason why you want to do that is because this cross actually does as much damage as your whip and can actually backpedal once it touches the edge of the screen. So right now I'm farming for a double, and I'm going to be farming for a triple, which allows me to throw 3 crosses at once on the exact same screen. So right now we're in stage 1, we're not in the castle just yet, we're in some abandoned horse stable or something like that. We won't be able to get to the castle until stage 6. Alright, now that we got our triple, we can now use basically 3 crosses at once. So another thing you're going to see me do a lot is damage boosting, which basically just allows me to get hit on purpose and then have Simon move forward a bit in the cost of his health. So you really need to keep track of how much health you really have. So for example here, I'm basically gonna stun lock these Medusa heads, not kill them, but just keep them in place. So I can basically boost forward, and they only take away 1 bar of health. And right now we're about to approach the first boss of stage 1. So jump twice up in the air, throw 3 crosses, kill the horse head, and spam your crosses. There you go. That's the signature Triforce Pizza pose right there. It's not mandatory, of course, but it's always cool to do when you have 3 hearts left. Alright, so stage 2, there's not much going on in stage 2. The biggest thing you need to worry about are the hands you see in the bottom on the floor. They're completely RNG. They don't necessarily hurt you, but they can grab your legs and it can cost you a bit of time, but we don't have to worry about them anymore. So the rest of the stage is pretty bare bone and pretty basic. Just some platforming, get past some of these orange lizards or Charmanders as I like to call them, because I really don't know what they're really called. So yeah, stage 2 basically takes place in a haunted forest. Again, we're not in the castle just yet. So right now we're just gathering up some hearts, just killing some enemies that are on our way, and just basically march forward. And another damage boost right here. Gotta get rid of the birds. Birds are without a doubt one of the worst enemies in Castlevania. Oops. Birds always scare me the most. One of the final bosses of the game is actually a giant bird as well, which you will see later. Yep, another bird. Alright, so now comes the boss of stage 2, the Medusa. And she's dead. So unlike stage 1, there's actually no orb to collect in this stage. You just have to like march forward. So in this screen, Simon's moving a little bit faster because the water is basically pushing us, but then very soon it's gonna push us back in just a few seconds. So I grabbed an invincibility potion over there and was able to basically march forward. And I grabbed a chicken leg meat over there to replenish my health. And for this last part, just basically keep marching forward. Keep getting hit by these green scyther looking things. I'm not really sure what they're called, I just named them after Pokemons because I'm that creative. Alright, now on to stage 3. Now this is when the game starts to get very interesting. So stage 3 is actually divided into 3 different sub-levels: a cave, an underwater level, and a abandoned sunken city that resembles ancient Greece. So here in the cave section, the biggest thing you need to worry about are these mudmen, because their movement is completely RNG, and what I want to do is jump over them without getting hit, and that is a terrible pattern, but that's fine. When you get hit by the adult big mudmen, they take away 4 bars, but if you hit them once with your whip and damage off of them, you only take away 3 bars, as you can see on the top. Go left, go left! Oh, okay, he went left, but see? That's the one thing you gotta worry about. But we don't have to worry about them anymore. Right now we're in the waterfall section of the stage. There's not much to tell, it's just a basic platforming. Just do some jumping, do some whipping. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the... There he goes. That's probably the hardest part of the entire section of the stage. So what I did over there is I basically manipulated Simon's whip downward and basically tricked the game into making him basically like latch the ring upward. It saves you around 10 seconds, I believe. Right now we're in the final part of stage 3, the abandoned city. So watch out from these falling blocks, their hitboxes are ridiculously high. There you go, another damage boost. Forgive me if I'm a little bit quiet, this part can be very tricky at times. Yeah. Some of these mudmen, which they do make a return from the classic CV games, they're random and they can be a bit of a pain at times. But we do not have to worry about them at the moment. And now we're in the final screen. There's another ring glitch right there. Again, what I did is I basically hold the whip button and hold down on the D-pad as Simon's head is above the ring. That allows me to do the ring glitch. And now we're gonna fight the boss of stage 3, a giant hydra with 2 heads. So I'm gonna pay attention to the water below as a visual cue to time my cross throws. And it's dead. And that's gonna be it for stage 3. On to stage 4. Thank you, thank you. Alright, so stage 4 takes place in this magic tower, I believe, ran by Dracula's head wizard named Coronat. It's also what we call the Mode 7 stage because, as you'll see very soon, the developers, Konami, really wanted to showcase how, I guess, awesome the Super Nintendo is. But in a way, it kinda does make me a bit sick, at least back when I first played this game. You'll see what I'm talking about. So this stage actually has two different bosses. The first one you're about to see right now. So jump 4 times up in the air, 3 crosses. That giant skull's name is Poexel. And of course I'm not talking about the amazing RPG runner we all know and love. So here comes the first sign of mode 7, where the whole screen basically starts to rotate. So this is what we call the coffee break room. Usually what I used to do is basically sit on the platform and do nothing, but I kind of just feel like that's boring, so I just do this instead. So this is basically the coffee break room, you know, get something to eat, drink some coffee, watch some anime, whatever you want to do to kill some time at the moment. Alright, break time's over. So again, hope you all doing well. Thanks a lot for being here. And thank you again for letting me be here and showcase what's probably one of my favorite games ever made. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, I hope nobody gets sick in this part of the stage. Because I'll admit, I did back then. What's also interesting is that Castlevania 4, I believe, was a launch title for the people over in Europe. So like I said, it's clear they really wanted to showcase how powerful Mode 7 really is. Oof. I was trying to do like a really silly trick right there called a zip, but I kind of fell down and messed up the setup. That's fine. It's not exactly marathon friendly anyway, but it's all good. What I love to see is that whenever people like play this game for the first time, they usually just stay on the elevator for like a good 30 minutes. That's just the way for the game to trick you. Just walk forward and really that's about it. Alright, now comes the boss stage 4, Coronat. Who kinda does look a lot like Graveler from Pokemon. There's another Pokemon reference there. The interesting thing about Coronat is that if you spell his name backwards, it's spelled ton of rock. Because he actually is made of rock, so nice little pun from the developers or whoever translated this game. Thank you very much, Sin. So here in stage 5, it's a very short stage. There isn't much to worry about besides the harpies who appear very randomly. So we're basically about to approach the castle itself. The whole time we're basically in the outer skirts of it. So right now I'm just gathering up some hearts, as many as I can. And I should also mention that in certain stages, the reason why I get rid of my hearts before collecting the orb is because when you collect the orb, the game is going to basically deplete all your hearts, which does take up a lot of time if you have a lot. So if you have like 0 hearts, the game will just instantly move on to the next stage. But in this one, we don't have to worry about it because there's no orb to collect. Watch out for the troll bat here. And collect 2 more hearts. Alright, 20 hearts is good enough. And now, we're about to approach the castle. So welcome to Dracula's ballroom, where he throws all his wild parties at. So this stage kinda does resemble stage 1 from Castlevania 1. Again, that's because we have now entered the castle. So just use my crosses to kill these knights. And now comes the chandelier room. So another non-marathon friendly strat in this part of the stage is to basically go for what's called the 2-cycle or 1-cycle chandelier jump. Basically you have to like time your jumping to go from the one platform to another. It's not as easy as it may sound, because you need to keep going as fast as you can and not lose a ton of frames basically. And of course if you mess up you have to like start over from the very beginning, so personally it's not worth it. Alright, so now we're in the next part of the stage where you get to see some of Dracula's former guests who've now become a bunch of ghosts and some ectoplasms. You can pretty much see like why the cross is like the most useful sub-weapon pretty much the entire game, and why we pretty much never use anything else. Which does disappoint me, because when I ran CV1 you have to use a variety of different sub-weapons. This game you only have to stick to one of them. Alright, so now up next is what we call the skeleton hallway, which is basically a hallway full of skeletons. So time your cross throws. Yeah, I guess you can call it Skelway, but we call it Hellway, or I do, because these guys can be a bit of a pain. Now to the second to last screen of stage 6. There you go, so that's what we call the coffin boost, where you basically use your cross and your whip to create yourself a bit of an opening to damage boost yourself forward. So these ghosts that appear, their spawn is completely random. Didn't want to risk it there. Now comes the boss of stage 6. And they're dead. You can kind of see why the cross is like the best weapon ever made. The boss fight I just killed, I believe they're called Fred Scare and Paula Abgul in the US version. Nice little pun from the English translators. So right now we're in stage 7, which is probably my favorite one. The library stage. Has this really nice, chill, relaxing music. And I just love the level design and the look of it. So the first half of the stage is basically a library. The second half of it is an armory for knights and all that stuff. Some haunted books there, but we didn't get to see them because I basically just skipped all of them. So in case you're wondering why these skeletons are red as opposed to white, is because they actually get up after a couple seconds. They pretty much never die. So now we're done with the library section, we're into the armory section of the stage. I'm not exactly sure who is in that painting over there in the bottom left. But all you need to know is that they actually can grab you. Say hello to the lag monster, say goodbye to it. That centipede monster only appears in that part of the stage. And you pretty much never see it again. Now to the very last part. So damage boost yourself forward. And collect some meat. Get rid of some hearts. And fight the boss. So that was Sir Grekiel. He's not a terribly difficult boss, but his movements are a bit RNG. Sometimes he'll either throw an axe or use his axe to try and hit you. He's a bit tricky to deal with. And now, coming up is probably the most infamous stage in the entire game. Stage 8, the Torture Dungeon stage. One thing I forgot to mention is that spikes, the majority of spikes in this game are instant death. They will instantly kill you no matter what. So forgive me if I'm a little bit more quiet in this stage. That's a little safety boost over there with the eyeball in order to go forward from these spikes. So one thing I forgot to mention. I'm actually playing the Japanese version of Super Castlevania 4. The reason I'm mentioning that is because unlike the United States version, this version actually has blood in stage 8. Whereas in the US version, it's replaced with green looking sludge. Which I'll admit, like back then I used to think this was a sewer-like level because I played the US version. But then I realized no, it's a torture dungeon with blood and just other gross things everywhere. There's no significant gameplay differences, it's just looks mainly. But still, blood in a Super Nintendo game, who could say no to that? Yeah, this is the final screen of the entire stage. It's also one of the hardest in my opinion. I know some of you are anticipating for the Vegas Bridge, but it is not a marathon friendly strat, since it is completely RNG. But we no longer have to worry about this whole stage anymore. Once Frankenstein's dead. Pretty much. I'm not much of a gambler, so that's kind of why I don't really go for Vegas Bridge that much. Now on to stage 9, where you get to see just how rich Dracula really is. Super rich that now skeletons are now made of gold. There you go, I just used my whip over there to stun lock one of the skeletons in order to boost myself to the left. This is also one of the laggiest stages in the entire game. These golden platforms things will disappear the moment you land on them. Such as this part over here. Just keep going forward, use your crosses, time them wisely, and we're good. March forward here, grab some meat, replenish your health. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. You can heal yourself by collecting wall meat, but in this game you can actually collect chicken wings from certain candles. So that's another good thing about this game. Watch out for those holes over there, they can suck you up and keep you in place for a couple seconds, which can be really annoying. So in this part of the stage, most of these candles just drop money bags, which in itself don't really do much. Besides give you points, and if you collect a certain amount of points, you get more, I guess, lives or credits. Some of you probably noticed that Simon can actually moonwalk in this game. Only on stairs though. So say hello to Zapbats, who can basically split into 3 different little bats. That's an okay fight. So with Zapbat, you actually want to whip it 22 times for it to split into 3 little ones. So I like to just try to count it, but I kind of lost count there for a moment. And when it swoops down, that's what I want the last hit to be, so I can basically use the 3 crosses and kill the 3 little ones like instantly. Now comes the second last stage, stage A, the clock tower stage. Can't be a Castlevania game without a clock tower stage. What better song to play than Blade Tears from Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. A little bit of a rocky start, but we got this. I totally agree. Bloody Tears is definitely one of the greatest songs ever made. But which version though? That's the real question. Jump here, make the gear move. Oops. There it is. So I kind of got a little bit scared there. Where I basically got hit on purpose by the Axe Knight, and then used my iframes to basically climb onto the ring as fast as I can. Just like that over there. Again, not exactly marathon friendly, but I don't know why I go for it. Got a little scared there. Keep in mind those red skeletons can take away 4 bars of health, which is how much I had at that time. So say hello to Akmadon, the mummy. Its spawn is completely random, and me personally I want to spawn all the way to the bottom left, so I can basically one cycle kill with my crosses. But right side isn't really that bad. I take 2 right side spawns than a middle spawn any day of the week. Trust me. Now to the very last stage, stage B. Which basically starts out with a remix of Vampire Killer from Castlevania 1. So what I'm doing over here is I'm basically collecting as many hearts as I can, And I'm also killing some of these bats to help reduce lag. And now we're about to approach the climbing tower here, which contains a song of the first level song from Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. Yeah, this game basically plays remixes of the classic CV titles, which I really do love a lot. Right, the beginning. Sorry, I haven't really played CV3 in quite a while, actually. So watch out for the spikes again, they are instant death. And at this point I really do not want to lose all my health and my cross and everything. Just get rid of some of these enemies. Alright, now comes what's probably the unofficial final boss, Slaga, which some of you may recognize from Symphony of the Night. Oh, thank God. This is the scariest boss in the entire game. One more hit and I would have been dead. So if you played Symphony of the Night, you're probably thinking, oh, he's probably the easiest boss ever. Well, yes, in Soden, but in this game, he's a complete nightmare. Oops. Gaibon, on the other hand, he's still easy. Oops. I guess I'm still a little bit shaken at the moment from Slaga. I guess I'm still a little bit scared from that Slaga fight earlier. I must have messed up my Gaibon fight really badly. Now comes Death, which it cannot be a CV game without. So what I'm doing is I'm basically burning a cross and then using that to time my other cross throws. I'll take it. And now onto the final boss, Dracula himself. So I'm basically low on health at the moment, so this should be a perfect opportunity to showcase the secret. So yeah, there's a secret thing here. There's a hidden stairs, basically go down there, stand there for a few seconds, and the game will give you a bunch of cool stuff to prepare yourself. So here in the final boss fight, I count down the timer from the top right by 7 seconds, and then basically start the fight. So Dracula basically appears randomly, wherever he wants. The first phase he starts throwing fireballs at you. And then when his health is down, he starts throwing these orbs, which actually do contain meat, as long as you hit them. Now, unlike the previous games, he does not turn into the Cookie Monster, Instead, he's bald and angrier, but he's dead. And that is it. That is Castlevania 4. Time's gonna be coming up very shortly once I grab the orb. And time. So 3510. So yeah, that's Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo. Thank you very much for the GGs, everybody. Appreciate it a lot. And again, thank you very much, Strizer, for allowing me to be here and showcase one of my favorite games ever made. Yeah, Castle crumbles, just like I said. So that's gonna be it for me. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here. You know, make sure you stick around for all these other amazing runners coming very soon. It's for a great cause, and again, thank you for allowing me to be here.